Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping straight into the book of Esther, specifically chapter 2. The scene is set right after Queen Vashti's dramatic exit in Susa. King Xerxes needs a new queen. Our aim here is to really unpack the, let's say, unusual way they went about finding one, meet the key players like Esther and Mordecai, and, pull out those surprising details.
Yeah, it's a really foundational chapter, sets up so much, and the process itself, well, it's quite something compared to how we think today. Introduces characters who seem almost incidental at first, but are actually crucial.
Absolutely. So chapter 2 starts. The king's anger has cooled off a bit. He's remembering Vashti, remembering his own decree. What happens then? You'd think maybe some regret, but nope.
Not really, no. It's more like, okay, problem identified, need a queen, and his attendants, the guys around him, they have an idea.
An idea. What is it?
Basically, let's find the king some beautiful young virgins. That's pretty much the direct proposal.
Wow. Okay. Simple, but how do they plan to do that? Just look around Susa.
Oh, much bigger than that. The plan involved appointing commissioners in every single province of this massive Persian empire.
Every province. So this is a huge, coordinated effort.
Massive. Their job. Gather all the beautiful young virgins and bring them to the citadel in Susa, specifically to the harem.
So it's like a state-mandated beauty pageant, but empire-wide and compulsory, just based on looks. It's hard to wrap your head around.
It really is. And once they get there, they're handed over to a specific official hegai, the eunuch in charge of the women, and then they start this required preparation phase.
Preparation? What kind of preparation? Sounds very structured.
It was. The attendants were clear. The girl who pleases the king becomes queen. And the king apparently thought, yeah, good plan, so it became official policy, a structured search, you could say.
Incredible. Okay, so while this huge search is kicking off across the empire, the focus shifts, right, to two people already in Susa.
Exactly. We meet Mordecai.
Yeah, the text gives us his background. He's Jewish, tribe of Benjamin, part of that exile community from Jerusalem, living right there in the citadel. So he's inside the power center, in a way.
And he has a cousin, Hadassah.
Who we also know as Esther.
That's right. She's orphaned, and Mordecai raised her like his own daughter. The text describes her as lovely in form and features, which, given the king's decree,
makes her a candidate. So this young woman, an exile, living quietly, suddenly gets caught up in this huge royal search.
She does. The order goes out, girls are gathered, and Esther is one of them. Taken to the palace, put under Hegai's care.
Right. Does she just blend into the crowd there? I mean, there must have been many girls.
Well, the text makes a point of saying she immediately pleased Hegai, won his favor, right away.
Immediately. That's significant.
It seems so. There was something about her that caught his attention from day one.
And getting the guy in charge on your side, that has to be a major advantage in that situation. What did that favor get her?
Special treatment. She got her required beauty treatment, sure, but also special food. He gave her 7 specific maids from the palace. And this seems key. He moved her and her maids to the best part of the harem.
So she's kind of fast-tracked, given better resources, better placement, all because Hegai liked her straight off.
Seems that way. She wasn't just another face in the crowd anymore.
But there's something else mentioned right then. Something Esther didn't do.
Yes. Very important. Esther had not revealed her nationality and family background.
Why not?
Because Mordecai had specifically told her not to. So she enters this incredibly public, high-stakes environment carrying a major secret about who she really is.
A secret identity right from the start?
Yeah.
That adds a whole layer of tension. And Mordecai, he doesn't just give the instruction to disappear.
No, not at all. The text says he walked near the harem courtyard every single day.
Every day, just pacing outside.
Trying to find out how she was, what was happening to her. He's still acting as her protector, even though she's inside the palace walls and technically inaccessible. It really highlights her isolation and his concern.
Let's circle back to those beauty treatments. You said they were required. The text is pretty specific about them.
Very specific and lengthy. It wasn't just a quick makeover. It was a 12-month process. Mandatory, before any girl could even go before the king.
A whole year. What did that involve?
6 months with oil of myrrh, and then another 6 months with perfumes and cosmetics. A really elaborate, time-consuming preparation.
It shows you the resources poured into this, and maybe the cultural importance placed on this kind of presentation to the king.
Definitely. And after that year, when it was finally a girl's turn...
How did that work? Could she prepare herself?
The text says she could take basically anything she wanted with her, from the harem to the king's palace, maybe jewelry, specific clothes, things she thought would impress him.
Okay. And then after? after her night with the king.
Then things shifted. She wouldn't go back to the main group waiting their turn. She'd go to a different part of the harem, under the care of another eunuch, Shashgaz, who was in charge of the concubines.
Concubines. So her status changed after that one night.
Yes, and here's the crucial part. She wouldn't go back to the king unless he specifically asked for her by name because he was particularly pleased with her.
So for most of these women, after a year of prep and one encounter, that was likely it. They just lived in the concubine quarters, potentially never seeing the king again.
That seems to be the implication. It really underscores the power dynamic and the high stakes of that single night. Most became part of the royal collection, essentially.
Which brings us back to Esther. Her year is up. She's had Haggai's favor. It's her turn. How does she handle it? Does she load up on jewels and finery?
Interestingly, no. The text makes a point of saying she asked for nothing other than what Haggai suggested.
So she deferred to his judgment, the expert who ran the whole thing.
Exactly. Instead of guessing or trying to stand out with extravagance, she trusted his advice, which suggests, a certain wisdom or perhaps humility.
And how did that work out for her?
Brilliantly, it seems. The text says, Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. Not just Haggai, not just the king later, but everyone she encountered on the way.
Wow. Universal appeal. So there was just something about her.
Something that resonated. Maybe her looks, maybe her demeanor, maybe the way Haggai advised her to present herself.
And the timing is specific too, isn't it?
Yes. 10th month Tebeth, 7th year of Xerxes' reign. Which tells us this whole process from Vashti's removal in year 3 took quite a long time, several years.
Okay, so she finally goes in to see King Xerxes, having impressed everyone else. What's his reaction?
The text leaves no doubt. He was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins.
She stood out completely.
She was the one. He didn't just like her. She was clearly the winner of this whole competition.
And the outcome, the grand prize.
He set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Just like that, the search was over.
The orphan Jewish girl, the exile with the secret identity, is now Queen of Persia. It's quite a turn of events.
Absolutely staggering. And the king marked the occasion.
Right, there was a celebration.
A huge one, a great banquet, specifically called Esther's Banquet, for all the top officials. He even declared a holiday across the empire and gave out gifts. It was a major public event.
But even now, as queen, surrounded by all this power and attention, that secret remains.
The text emphasizes it again. She still hasn't revealed her background.
Still following Mordecai's instruction.
Yes. It says she obeyed him, just like when she was growing up under his care. Becoming queen didn't change that fundamental secrecy about her identity.
And Mordecai himself, where is he during all this?
The text places him sitting at the king's gate, which isn't just lounging around. It suggests he has some kind of official position, or at least recognized access near the court entrance.
A place where he could hear things, see things.
Exactly. It puts him in a position to be aware of palace business and gossip.
And that position becomes incredibly important almost immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Leads to another major event in this chapter.
It really does. While Mordecai's there at the gate, 2 of the king's own officers, Bigthana and Tereshgais, who guarded the entrance, get angry about something. The reason isn't given.
And they decide to do what?
They conspire to assassinate King Xerxes, a plot from right inside his security team.
Whoa. Okay, so that's a serious threat. How does it get stopped?
Simple line in the text. But Mordecai found out about the plot. Again, no details on how he found out, overheard them, tip off, we don't know. But he uncovered it.
And knowing this, what does he do? He can't just walk up to the king.
He uses his connection. He tells Queen Esther.
And Esther takes it to the king.
She does. But crucially, when she reports it, she gives Mordecai the credit. She tells the king that Mordecai is the source of this information.
Naming him. That seems important. Like you said, small detail, but maybe not so small later.
Exactly. It links the act of saving the king directly to him.
So what happens with the plotters?
The king doesn't just dismiss it. There's an investigation. They check it out, and the report is confirmed. It was a real plot.
And the consequences for Bigthana and Teresh?
Swift and final. They were hanged on a gallows, threat neutralized.
Then the chapter ends with one last, seemingly bureaucratic detail.
Yes, but a vital one for the story. It says, all this was recorded in the Book of the Annals in the presence of the king.
The official royal records.
Right. Mordecai's loyalty, His act of saving the king's life is officially documented. It's there in the history books of the kingdom. But importantly, there's no mention of him getting any reward or recognition for it right then.
So, chapter 2 is quite a journey. We go from this empire-wide, almost clinical search for a queen.
To the improbable rise of Esther, this hidden figure who navigates the system, gains favor, and becomes queen, all while keeping her true identity secret on Mordecai's advice.
And then Mordecai, positioned perfectly at the gate, uncovers this assassination plot, saves the king's life through Esther.
And that critical act gets recorded in the official chronicles, but sort of filed away for the moment. It's noted, but not acted upon immediately.
It really sets the stage. You have this vast imperial machine, this intense search, and yet it's these individuals, Esther with her secret, Mordecai with his watchfulness, whose actions are shaping events.
And that recorded detail just sitting there in the annals, waiting.
So, thinking about all this, the huge scale of the search, the secret Esther carries, Mordecai's seemingly chance discovery and intervention, and the fact that his heroism is just noted down in a book, what does that make you think about how history actually works? How much do these big systems matter compared to the hidden actions, the secrets, the quiet observations of individuals, and even just, the bureaucratic act of writing something down, waiting for its moment? Makes you wonder where the real turning points lie, doesn't it?